Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Coping with Life. I'm your host, Scott. Hopefully you're doing well today. Or evening, depending on when you're listening to this. I want to thank each and every one of you listening to this podcast and listening to me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Before we begin, consider helping out the podcast and helping us grow. You can go to anchor.fm/copingwithlife. Feel free supporting us and telling your friends and family and perfect strangers about my podcast and help, maybe help them out. Today's episode is going to be about anxiety and panic attacks. Your mileage may vary, and it's okay. Panic attack and anxiety is, they're not easy to cope with, and stress can be a huge proponent to make it more frequent. And there's nothing, depending on how you handle your stressors, and stress can cause so much problems. And if you're under a lot of stress, stress can cause so much more problems down the line, can create way more problems than, where you are currently. So stressing out on things, that is sign of really bad mental health. And I'm just wanting to discuss it. As someone who has anxiety and frequent panic attacks, and I will stress over things and go thinking more negative, even though I'm a very, very positive personality type. But there's a lot of things that can get to me and make me panic and overthink things. And it's not nice to my brain, because I know I'm trying. And any small things I will freak about, and my brain will just say things, and I apologize for me being me sometimes. And I try really hard to try and articulate what I'm feeling. It doesn't always come across as clarity. I'm trying to get better. And it's not easy to have a voice when you're struggling through problems like stress or a lot of things that disrupt your everyday life. And that's part of life, but not everybody is able to handle things, especially when it comes to mental health. There's a stat for people who develop mental illnesses in their late 20s, early 30s, and 40s. They can't cope with that. They don't know how to live life not part of the norm. Where me, who has been through my entire life. It's like, oh, you know what? It's a Tuesday. Yeah. This is kind of normal. Well, it's just Tuesday type of day. It's like, but today's Friday. Yes, maybe Friday. But technically, in my brain, it's a Tuesday. That's what I'm feeling. Associating feelings and emotions with days is normal to people that I know who are struggling through the similar things that I struggle with. And I will make jokes and, overlook the pain that I go through, and maybe a future episode may be about pain and a lot of ways to try and handle it. But this is not that episode. But stress causes pain, and it will cause many pain. And I'll give you an example of a panic attack that I had recently. It was Tuesday. To me, that is funny, because I just was talking about the Tuesday feeling. Anyway, so let's say it was Tuesday, and I'm trying to do a lot more social activities and get out more and try and get more accustomed to socializing. Well, then there was a note on my apartment door saying, hey, we need to inspect your apartment. And it was a 24-hour notice, and to me that's totally okay. I don't have a problem with that. Never have, never will. But I get it. So, my brain starts having a panic attack. Not a mild one. It was major, but I persevered. And I'm glad, I was in a mental state where I could get up and do things. And my brain did not like it. My brain did not like me doing what I like. I love cleaning. I love having a nice, livable space. But my brain and I was having a panic attack because I overstress. I overthink everything. And when there's multiple layers of viable options, my brain will pick the worst one that is like, okay, it's probably going to be this. And it's really hard to fight that. But and with my brain, and I have many of these stories, but I'm having a huge mental breakdown, and I don't want to talk to anybody. I want to get done, but I can't sleep. Most days I can't sleep anyways. But when it comes to high stressors that can shape multiple things, I was in a normal way, not sleeping, that's okay. I'm okay being up for 4 or 5 days. That's normal. That's something that's kind of the normality since I was a kid. But when you add stress or panic attacks, me being up for more than 9 hours takes a toll on my body, takes a toll on my brain, and being hydrated and very getting all the nutrients that my body needs. So when I'm up, I'm staying up through the night, and it's hard. It's really hard to explain the thought process that you go through because you want everything to be perfect, and not everybody copes with stress and social anxiety or panic attacks the same way. They all affect everybody different. And so I have to stay up. I cannot sleep. And like right when they're about to knock on the door opens. And it only lasted maybe 3 minutes, which is normal. They check the oven, they check the sink, they check the bathroom, check a few other things, and that's it. But to me, everything has to be perfect. And then I was up for another day. And it's okay. Because, things will be okay, hopefully. I try and be on the brighter side of the outlook. But it's hard. I'm forcing myself to open up about these feelings and stuff that I go through, and it's really hard to articulate the things that happens. But I want to help people understand that, I can live a normal day-to-day life, have a normal life, but sometimes that can be a problem. And it depends where somebody is at in their life. And for me, if I get a lot of positive endorphins in my head, and there's a lot of positive feelings, and there's a lot of happy emotions going through my brain, anxieties and panic attacks and wanting to close myself off, that doesn't happen a lot. But if I'm feeling stressed or out of place, then it just ramps up to at least a 9. And it's not easy. I mean, life is, not easy in itself. Try and make things better. I want to help people. That's one of the main purposes of this podcast. But it's also me trying to open up and tell people that I'm a normal person too. And it's not easy. I'm not a medical doctor. And most medical doctors don't listen to patients anyways. It's all in your head. Well, yeah. But again, you know, that's just my opinion. And for people who are the uneducated, I'm not somebody out there who is seeking, prescriptions or drugs. I stay away from those type of stuff. Long story, not gonna tell it, but it's just I would rather have a normal life, and I fought so hard to be in the place where I am today, and struggles happen, but I want to help people who are currently fighting their silent struggles. And you may have a family member, sibling, parent, uncle, cousin, etc., or a friend who's going through these problems, and you want to expand your knowledge, and I'm all for it. And this is coming from somebody who has panic attacks, who can be antisocial and have panic attacks, and being honest, may have my Karen moment here and there. And I don't try and be malicious with that, but my brain will say things they're done maliciously of how the situation panned out, and going through a panic attack, things become heightened and exaggerated, and have a conversation and not yell. I'm not somebody for yelling and arguing. That will being yelled at or being screamed at, I kind of shut down, and I give up on that. I don't retaliate. And I just having problems with expression, and when you tell somebody what you're going through, most of the time they won't know what to say or how to respond, and everybody is different. But when I get a response that is, I'm going to be honest, and I know this may sound contradictory or weird, but I'm coming at it from a different angle. In reality, there is no wrong way to respond unless you respond negative and go, oh well, just think happy thoughts. It's like that is a wrong answer, because that's, if I could have think happy thoughts and that would make me feel better, I don't think I would have be as miserable as I am, because that's not, when people are depressed or have social anxiety or any sort of chemical imbalance in the brain, that's not the right way to handle things, because that's incorrect. And even if you read all the psychology books and do a lot of research, you know, it doesn't really tell you how to handle things. Now, some people just get it. You know, some people have, you know, the handle. They read the books, they went to college, they, you know, they have a handle of being there for people who have problems with mental illness. Absolutely. Those people are amazing. And if you're listening to this, thank you very much. You are amazing. And then there's some therapists in there that they don't know really what to say or do. And I'm not faulting them. Because, you know, everybody is different. Everybody handles things, what they're listening to. And they're not in an easy field. And some of us people who need a lot of help to talk more and not be so shielded. You know, those people who are trying to help us, I also thank you very much, because it's not an easy task. Because everybody handles different. But there's a way, you know, the best therapist, for me, I'm only speaking for myself. The best therapist for me is the people who listen, take notes, and then after, you know, 5-6 sessions, you know, go back over the notes and go, well, how did this affect you in the last week? And, you know, you mentioned this in sessions 1, 2, 4, 5. This must be a big problem. Let's discuss it. Let's talk. Let's find ways to make it better. Those, for me, help the building blocks. But that doesn't, you know, that's not a copy and paste thing. You know, what works for me, because I like analytics, I like stats, I like, you know, that's something that my brain is very accustomed to. Not a lot of people think like that, and nor do they have the brain capacity. So, the therapist that can adapt to each and every one of their patients is key. And the best thing that therapist needs is to have patience with the patients. I just wanted to say that, but it's true in my opinion for today. It may change tomorrow, but for right now, that's where I stand. But communication is key. If you don't have communication, nobody can help you. And I've been, one of the problems that I struggle with is I have a problem, you know, socializing, talking to people, talking to strangers. and it's not been easy. And so I've been making the notion to socialize more. And I've been going out to eat a lot. I'm by myself. I'm alone because nobody wants to go with me, and that's okay. But so I usually wind up at a particular restaurant, and the waitstaff, the restaurant that I'm referring to, the waitstaff there, y'all are amazing. I can't thank you enough for being very patient with me. And the best thing happened a few days ago. I went in the restaurant and they're like, hey, just pay a seat. You're good. And they know what I ordered, but it was really hot. And I didn't want to have a sugary drink. So I just opted for water because it was really hot and I wanted to stay hydrated. But I had a good burger, but I didn't need a menu. I remembered what I get, which is usually one of 3-4 things. And very good, and I tipped what I could. But I was very proud, and you know, and even that small thing, you know, I overthink everything, I analyze everything, and they know that, you know, there's a couple places that I like to sit, if possible. I have to have a view of my surroundings. And I'm very, no matter where it is, I'm very particular in where I sit. And I like to notice things, and so, but y'all are so amazing and being patient with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate everybody. And you know, I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I can, you know, grow myself. You know, I don't have, you know, anybody that I can, you know, articulate for me or help me understand things. I have to do everything by myself. And, you know, it hurts, but at the same time, it, you know, it strengthens me to not be dependent. You know, I live alone. I have my own apartment. I do everything by myself. I cook, or I go out. You know, I'm very dependent. I've been doing everything by myself for a very long time. Very proud of myself. But it's not easy. It's not easy, you know, having panic attacks and worrying about things that I cannot control. Trying to be really hard. And know that I can't control what I cannot control. And every day is different. I don't, you know, a couple days ago, I had one of the greatest evenings in my life. I just felt great. The next day, I woke up miserable. I went to sleep, had a couple of hours, and just woke up grumpy. And visible, and my brain was just bitter. And I don't know why. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I do know why. But those things will not be aired publicly on my podcast. So to everybody and to me, I don't know why. I just want to be honest, and there's a lot of things that I will not mention on this podcast. But there's a lot of things that I will, and even if I exaggerate a few things or change scenarios, that will happen. But the panic attacks and anxiety, and there's a lot more that goes into that. Stress. I think I was 22, maybe. I was working at a store, and I loved doing what I was doing. No, I think I was 20. I think this particular story, I was 20. Anyway, I was still working at a store. And I was going through so much stress. And, and your body will fight, and it will try and hinder you and disable, or try and make life hard for you. Stress will, if, one of the reasons why people get carpal tunnel, or carpal tunnel happens in many different ways, but stress can make the process go faster. If you're trying good posture, if you're stressed, and even if your spine is 1/10 of an inch from where it usually is, it's gonna hurt, or your brain is gonna try and make anything to distract you. And whatever, is a weakness to you, your brain will try and go, see, your finger hurts. It's like, my finger is fine. It's like, no, it hurts. Most is caused by stress, anxiety, and panic attacks. Panic attacks to me is hard. Because to me, panic attacks will happen the worst timing. And sometimes I can control it. Sometimes that I can delay the outcome. Not prevent it, just delay it. But not always. And the thing with panic attacks, stress, and anxiety, they all go hand in hand. Not always, but there is a huge correlation. And again, I am not a doctor. I'm not saying this is definite. I'm just going off of this as, to me, pertaining to me. And I'm glad that I have the ability to try and better my life, create tools to improve quality of life. And that is a topic that I would like to hit on in a future episode, is quality of life, and just ways to make current day-to-day activities better. And growth, learning that you have a problem, learning to admit you're wrong or you have a problem, and that's some of the hardest things for me to admit is, I'm wrong, or I was misinformed, or I just don't know. For somebody who knows a lot about a lot of things, it's hard to, when somebody asks me a question, it's hard for me to say, I don't know that. Because my brain immediately goes, I don't know how to answer that question. Now I want to know. And so, even though I say, yeah, I don't know anything about this, but I would like to learn. Depending of the question, obviously. But, finding ways to smile and, it's, obviously this is just an overview, and I would like later to do more in depth and find more ways to help everybody understand more. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out. I like reading your emails and questions. But the biggest thing that I'm proud to be able to say is, yes, I have panic attacks. I have anxiety. And I'm glad that people are now understanding that it's okay. Because I've been shunned and people have cut me out of their lives because, they have misconceptions of, mental health problems. And mental health is not contagious. Unless your negativity is sparking my anxiety. It happens. But I like being happy and go lucky, and earlier today I was panicking, and I had a lot of social anxiety and the unknown, and learning to do something that I'm not familiar with, because the sea of the unknown is hard to tread at times. It's sink or swim, and most times I'm floating without a paddle, drifting. not wanting to swim, but, you know, not really trying to swim either. I'm just drifting and floating, and the well-being. And at first it was not good. Then it turned out to be good, because I had patience and I fought my brain, who was the negative being, but me being positive and go, hey, just deal with it. And I'm glad that happened the way it did, and I can be more positive of it now. And now I can help people of this one thing, and you know, I really enjoy helping people and making other people smile, and even I know in recent days a lot of people are now reciprocating my friendliness back to me, instead of, you know, shunning me and, you know, okay, weirdo. It's more, you know, I hope you have a good day. And, you know, I like that. I do. And I like being friendly. And it's one of the ways that I'm trying to grow my socialism problems in real life. Because when it comes to behind my computer, I can talk and type for days. Put me out in the real world, it's like, okay. It's not that bad, in all honesty. For me, it's not that bad. Some days are. And I have a lot of ways that I cope with everyday living and going out and doing what needs to be done. But, you know, social anxiety, panic attacks, they can be crippling. And, you know, I know people who when they're stressed or they're suffering from anxiety or social anxiety, they will get headaches. And it's crippling because those headaches will last for days. They don't want to do anything. It disables them for a while, and if it happens for days, you know, that's, you know, depending of your situation, it could be, you know, losing your place to live, losing your job. So it's really hard, and especially currently going on in the world, you know, it's not easy. And I'm so glad that, you know, being honest with your employers and people around you, saying, you know, I'm not doing well mentally today. If I hear that, or I'm going to be 100% honest, I've been texted and emailed from a few people who have said, you know, I'm not doing well. Can I talk to you? And I will listen. And if they ask me my advice, I will help them. But I will listen, and I'm glad that there's a lot of people out there who understand that I go through things, and there's this person that messages me, and I have no problem with it. They tell me a lot of things. I listen. And I remember a conversation with this person who is like, "Can I vent? Is it possible?" And I'm like, "Absolutely. Ranting and venting, definitely okay." And one of the first things that I said was, "Do you want me to say anything?" It's like, "No, I just want you to read it after I vent and rant." And that's what I've done. Years later, still doing it. I don't care. And I don't mean that I don't care negatively. Because I care about this person, and we have great chats. But when they vent and rant, I listen. Because they're slowly growing and learning. And I'm glad that they can be themselves and know that, something is not right. And, they will email me, they will text me, and I'm definitely okay with listening to people, because there's people that I can fight and that I can talk to. Some people that I talk to, they honestly don't give a damn what I go through. Because they don't know how to understand it. They don't know how to take it, because, it's foreign. And, but then there's people who, will text me or call me and say, hey, they will go, and I quote, "Hey dude, I need you to talk to this person. I need you to be you. Talk them off of the ledge. Help them." And that's what I do. No matter what they go through. And, they're like, "Oh my God, you are an amazing person." It's like, well, I like helping people. I enjoy doing this podcast. And, season 1 is, trial and error. Me trying to figure out everything. But trying to introduce a lot of the information, and then later expand more. I'm trying really hard to, get more comfortable into talking about problems and learning how to record. Because everything is new to me. This is, very new to me. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm trying to get better, trying to get better gear, better supplies, but at the end of the day, I have to be a better me, and being able to articulate, and at the end of the day, I am me, and it's not easy at times to be honest with myself and admitting that I am not okay. And even though I'm okay, but what I mean is I'm not okay because I do have mental health problems. I am disabled. I don't use them as a crutch, like a lot of people do. They will use it as a advantage tool to get ahead in life. That's not where I go. That's not what I do with it. And a lot of people, to this day, they don't know that I have mental health problems or disabled. I have a speech impediment and, I'm different. But, if you're struggling with your mental health problems, whatever it may be, if you're not going through a good time, there's a lot of help out there. And those hotlines, I've used them plenty of times for numerous occasions. And there's people out there who want to listen. You don't have to pay a therapist. But there's a lot of people out there who care about you. You matter. Or your family member or friend, they matter. No matter what they may be going through in life. And, I want to help people by, educating themselves or go, I may want to look into finding help and, don't wait until last minute. Don't use it as an excuse or a crutch. There's an example. If you have two people arguing and it escalates, and it's like, well, you need to get help. Don't get it to that point, because at that point, no matter what happens, it's not going to get better. Because at that point, you got that bad without, no matter where you may be in life, you're going to find ways to make excuses. And when you talk to a therapist or counseling, you find ways to not make it about you. And the best part about counseling and therapists is it needs to be 100% you wanting to genuinely get better. Not, pleasing anybody else. You have to do it for yourself. But if it's getting to the point where, you're saying, I need help. It's like, it's, in all honesty, it's a lost cause at that point, because, if you needed help, you would have reached out a lot sooner. Because it's a defense mechanism. A lot of people who gaslight, manipulate, they use that tactic to, or receiving that. It goes both ways. And, the best thing is communicating. Now, if you don't think you have a problem and somebody says, hey, I think you may benefit by talking to somebody, that is a great way of saying, hey, I think you need help. But at that way, if you go from that angle, you're definitely going to succeed. So, it's all mindset. If I'm arguing with myself, I'm going to say, I'm two people. I'm I and myself. I'm arguing with myself and I. Myself is screaming at me saying, well, you're a jerk. You need to find help. I, being defensive, would go, yeah, I am a jerk, and I need, and it's escalating, and it's arguing, and back and forth. It's like, yeah, I know I need, help. I need to, there. That's not going to solve anything because you're doing it in a fight, an argument, and it will never be good. But if you have a sit-down conversation with somebody and you discuss things, and that's the difference between a toxic versus a loving system. Because it's not it doesn't have to be during a relationship or whatever. It can just be, I don't have the words, I apologize, but basically, if you say and you communicate in a calming manner, hey, you're kind of acting like a jerk. Is there anything bothering with you? Most likely I would say, no, I'm fine. But then myself, in this scenario, again, I'm two people, not multiple personality. I'm just using an example of two people. One is called I, the other is myself. Myself would tell I think it would benefit you discussing your not a problem problems to somebody. Here's a few numbers. But I think it would be beneficial. Worst case scenario, you call them a hack. And, have a cheap laugh. It's all about how you convey. And again, this is not a copy and paste type of thing. But it's best to not be toxic and more loving and caring and, bring compassion and talking and discussing somebody. Because if you're going to just, throw out ultimatums and demands, nothing is going to be fixed. It adds to the stress, adds to the list of problems, and when the ground falls, it hurts. But that has been today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. I love each and every one of you very much. And if you're having problems, I think it would be nice if you reached out to somebody. Because you matter. People care about you, even if nobody says that they do. I care about you. And I'm appreciative of you. And I'm very proud of you. Thus concludes another amazing episode of Coping with Life. I think I can't be appreciative more about the support and love that everybody has given me doing this, and gives me the strength to continue doing this podcast. So, may you have a wonderful day. Try and be more understandable of people. But thank you so much for listening. I bid each and every one of you adieu. Wow, that was an amazing podcast. Thank you for joining me, Scott, for another episode of Coping with Life. Consider supporting us at anchor.fm/copingwithlife and hit the support tab. That would be amazing. Hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. Please share it with people. Let them know about this podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'll see you next week.